Well, here we are at the end of the day. Thanks for tuning in. This is a meditative type of broadcast, and the title of today's broadcast is What Would You Do Differently? Well, that could be a really big question. For example, what would you do differently if you stayed home from work today? Or what would you do different if you, let's say, didn't go to college? Or what would you do differently today if you knew it was a loved one's last day tomorrow? Well, at the end of the day, usually things quiet down and you have more time to process the inner thoughts that go through your mind in the course of a whole day. I find that I do my most creative and deep thinking usually between midnight and 2 a.m. It's not to say that I couldn't go to sleep, but my mind seems to be still in full speed. Fifth gear, you might say. And I think about just all these different things. Like, for example, recently, I was thinking about my family relationship growing up and the places that we would go, like the World's Fair in 1964. Seems like yesterday in some ways, and in others, it seems like at least 2 lifetimes ago. I think back to playing out by the swimming pool, watching my sister play on the swing while I would just sit in the backyard. There's a few years difference between us, about 7 years difference. So I would watch the things that she would do as a child 7 years younger than me. And thinking back to the times when we would play in the snow in Long Island, going to the Indian festival and going to the beach and fishing, Christmases, new places that we would move to over the years, and how life seemed to be so simple back then compared to today. So, back to the original question, what would you do differently? Well, I know recently a couple of people that were very important in my life have passed on, and I can say that I'm really glad that I got to know them. I'm glad I got to know them very well, actually, over the years, and that I was actually able to be there for them in their last days. It wasn't easy, but I know that they appreciated it, and I know that it's something that, had I not gone through, I could never have even imagined what it would be like. And the point of this whole meditative segment is to place a value on what's happening today and what you could do different today in case tomorrow you don't have another chance to do that. It could be in anybody's life. It could be a good friend. It could be a sibling or a parent, or it could just be a complete stranger that you come in contact with in the course of a day, shopping in a mall or at the gas station. Every day is a gift, whether we realize it or not. And whether you enjoy reading or music or photography or just sitting outside and watching the birds and the breeze blowing the leaves in the trees, it's really important to take the time to really enjoy that, because sometimes you just don't have that opportunity. Again, at least not in the same situation or time frame. And every day that you live, you have chances to do all kinds of new and different things. And you've heard people say, I don't have any regrets. Well, it's not really easy to be able to say that if you really put some thought into it. Hopefully, you don't have many regrets. I know there's been times where I would have done something different. And sometimes it's painful to think about the things that you could have been responsible for making the course of events that followed go better. And sometimes you just have to forgive yourself. Sometimes you have to have a conversation with somebody that's not there anymore, just to kind of role play it and act it through. Whether you be sitting in a room by yourself with a chair facing you that's empty, making believe that it's the person that you wish you could have said something to, and kind of just get it off your chest, so to speak. And just try to make life better for the next day. So, what would you do differently today? You could end the sentence in many different ways. You could ask the question with any different ending that you'd like to ask. What would you do differently today? Well, I know that every day that I live, I try to do the best decision possible. And sometimes it's just not fully graspable because life gets so busy. And especially in this time that we live, where the distractions are endless, it seems like the different distractions that are all around us, whether it be cell phones or email or doorbell ringing or just sitting at a traffic light waiting for the light to change, and somebody walking in front of you against the light and sitting there and wondering what's going on in that person's life. And taking the time to just think about that. What's going on in their life? And why are they even walking in front of you at that particular moment in time? Well, I hope this segment of At the End of the Day was thought-provoking and that you enjoyed it. I thank you for tuning in, and I do ask that you subscribe, and I will talk to you very soon.